Hey everybody, it's a Proraso shave today on Barber Dave Shaves and Such. Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. I apologize for yesterday. Yes, I hoboed it, but things were busy. I had to take the dog to the vet, had to drive all over town, and we're going to get to some of those stories in a little bit. So what are we using today? I did say it was going to be a quick Proraso shave. It's the GOAT. I mean, Proraso, easy, quick, wonderful, makes you feel good. But for the razor day, we're going to be using the Essence by Titleist, and this does have a feather pro guard blade in it. For the brush today, we're going to be using the Teton Gold Rush. Big, heavy brush, really nice. For the shaving cream, we'll be using Proraso Green, and we'll show you how I think the easiest way to lather that is, and then we'll get into the other stuff as we go. So I hope everybody's having a good Tuesday. So what I do is I soak my, even if it's a synthetic, it's just I've gotten into the habit over the years to soak the brush. So I soak it in my little A&W root beer mini mug that I got 1,000 years ago. So what I do is I take the Proraso, and this is what I think is the easiest way to do it. If you've never used Proraso, what, you've been living under a rock, you got to use it. Very nice, very citrusy, very Italian, very mentholated. So I take and I put a dollop, and I'll put that into a knot a little bit. That's it. And then I will wet my face and go to town. Now you can do this in a bowl too, but the brush is fairly wet, and you just, now it starts out, you're thinking, uh-oh, we're not going to have any lather, because it starts out kind of pasty and very thin. But if you notice, now I haven't added any water yet, and that was probably the size of maybe a little bit bigger than a nickel. But what's nice about the Proraso is you get the lovely Italian citrus, plus you get a nice menthol and eucalyptus type hit. So I've added just a little bit of water to the tips of the bristles of the brush. And I will see how that's going, and it's still really, really thick. So add a little bit more water. And like I said, you can do this in a bowl and then apply it to your face, but I just prefer face lathering it. So as you can see, it's already starting to get really nice and thick. And depending on the type of razor that you use, you can thin it out as much as you want. I usually thin, when I'm using a straight razor, I usually thin Proraso out pretty good. So it'll take a few drips of water, but I've never been able to break Proraso. But you're going to get that nice, shiny, slick feeling. And as you can see, that was just that little dollop. So the one nice thing about Proraso, especially in the tube, is that it travels great. It's probably one of my favorite travel soaps. So there you go. I'm not exactly sure how many shaves I have on this feather pro guard that's in this, but still feels pretty smooth. I shaved Sunday morning, so this is about 2 full days of growth, and the essence just slides right through it. Blade still feels really, really good. And I've mentioned this 1,000 times before, that to me, this razor is the closest to the true feel of a straight razor, both in ergonomics and in weight and in the way you shave your face. This is one of the main reasons why I use this in the shop, along with a couple other regular straight razors, depending on my client's beard requirements. And I think I've said this before, if the client's just coming in for just a quick straight razor shave, using my lather machine lather, I'll use this because it's quick, it's fast, it gets them in and out and gives them a wonderful shave. I do use the Feather Pro Guards at the shop because I've noticed, and I've tried them all, but I've noticed for the vast majority of my clients of various beard types that the Pro Guard just does a tremendous job. And then, of course, for some of my clients that have heavier beards, I've used this, but most of the time I've got a Wade & Butcher FBU 8/8 that I use for that, a full wedge. And then I've got a couple other hollows that I use, depending on the client. And then, of course, if they pay for the big service, then I always use a straight razor. A regular straight razor, I should say. And then I do use this for all my haircuts as far as the arching technique. In other words, when I shave around the ears, back down the neck, and then on the neck itself. It's a little bit more expensive that way, because using it, every day, 15 to 20 times a day, you do burn through these Pro Guards fairly quick. The nice thing about this is the sterilization technique for this is very, very easy. Just pop the blade out, place it in the barbicide cleaner, and then you place it in the barbicide. And that completely disinfects the blade, and it allows me to get a little bit more longevity. This is just such an easy razor to use. Like I said, I recommend using a Shavette after you've learned how to use a straight, but this one you could probably get away with this in the Feather DX or SS. The one nice thing about Proraso is when you rinse, you get this rush of eucalyptus and menthol. Oh, it's just beautiful for a very hot, muggy summer. Oh, so that's what we're going to talk about. So July in Tucson is traditionally when we have our monsoon rains, and they can get pretty severe, with wind and hail and stuff like that. But this year is weird. We've had 3 tornadoes since the beginning of July. And now the closest one to us was about 4 or 5 miles away up north. But very rarely do tornadoes hit Tucson proper, and we've had two that have caused pretty extensive damage. They were both in the F1, F2 range. But what's odd is traditionally Arizona does not have enough moisture to get, like you folks in the Midwest, to get these tornadoes up and spinning. We don't have a lot of supercells, very rarely, because we don't have the moisture that you guys do coming off the Gulf. However, it's been a weird year, and every once in a while we will get a supercell that'll spin up a tornado. A lot of funnel clouds. In fact, we see funnel clouds all the time, but they never make it to the ground because it's just too dry on the ground. However, most people don't realize that the state of Arizona has between 4 and 12 tornadoes every year. Now, people say, well, why don't we hear about it? Well, because there's so much land, so much open land, that most of the time we find out about tornadoes through the National Weather Service because they've been Doppler radar indicated, or they're maybe somebody that gets a video of one that's out in the middle of nowhere. So we don't see a lot that actually hit the city. However, in the last few years, we've had a few that have hit the Phoenix area, one or two. We've had a couple just north of us. And then, of course, we had the three that we had within the last couple of weeks. So it's weird. Now, the one was an F3, and it did quite a bit of damage. And then the one we had Wednesday night, was it Wednesday night? No, I'm sorry. It was Monday or Sunday. I can't remember. But it was crazy. It went through the northwest side of town, and it ripped off roofs. It actually took down the side of a building. Plus, here at the ranch, we had golf ball size and marble size hail. Some pretty heavy wind, but nothing tornadic. You could see a lot of the mammatus clouds, and it was turning green. So we do get some stuff, but we were fortunate. But it's just weird. And then yesterday was a down day, and we're expecting maybe some more severe storms today. And for us, the monsoon is, we love to see it, the lightning and stuff, but this has been weird. And driving around town yesterday, it literally looked like you were going through an apocalypse. Because the plants and the plants, I should say, the trees, they're fairly shallow-rooted trees. Because they want to be close to the surface so they can get the water when it hits the ground, because we don't have rain that much. So any large wind is going to rip these things apart. In fact, our state tree, which is the blue Palo Verde, it's got such a weak structure that's the majority of what you see down, snapped in half and so forth. Few mesquite, but the mesquite have a large taproot that goes down. And believe it or not, you don't see as many saguaros down as you'd think, but there is a few, because the saguaro has a small footprint as far as roots, but it's made to sway in the wind. But yeah, so it's weird. The last time we had any type of tornadic activity that hit Tucson that I can recall is 1972, 1973, because I remember sitting in the back of my dad's car and asking what that big funnel was. But other than that, we don't get them too often. But we've seen a little bit of a larger increase in funnel clouds in the last couple of years. And then, of course, this whole tornado thing this month has been wild. And it's so weird, living in Arizona, that you hear a tornado warning and you kind of want to laugh. So, and we still haven't gotten the amount of rain that we think we need. Okay, so very good shave, nice 3-pass shave. Let's see what the Allen block says. Virtually nothing. So that's, you know, that's one of the reasons why I like Proraso. It's just very easy to use. Great travel kit. And like I said, you can use it when you're traveling, very easy. It packs real well and everything else. Okay, so let's go over everything again real quick before we rinse off. Again, for the shave today was the Essence by Titleist. This is one of the originals with a feathered Pro Guard blade. The brush was the Teton Gold Rush, very heavy brush. This was given to me a few years back by a gentleman by the name of Brian, who's no longer with the cadre, but he did give that to me. And yes, in Arizona, this time of year, when you're doing your final rinse, you actually turn on the hot water because the hot water is actually colder than the cold water because our groundwater warms up. And the hot water's been staying in the hot water heater, not heating for the evening, so it actually ends up coming out colder. Go figure. We don't have a time zone change, and we have cold water coming out of our hot water spigot. There you go. Okay, for our witch hazel today, we're going to be using Thayer's Lemon. And of course, for our soap today, Proraso Green in the tube. It just works really well. And I'm one of the weird ones. I still keep it in its original box. So. Let that dry down a little bit more. Just a wonderful, wonderful shave. Okay, here's the goat. Proraso Green. Ugh. This stuff. Nice alcohol hit, but nothing too crazy. But just a wildly fresh and purely Italian. There is no doubt. It really does make you feel refreshing. You know, to me, when you look at the three aftershaves that just make you feel great right out of the gate, well, four, but this one, but the fourth one I'm not going to talk about because it's more of a high end. But the ones that you could get almost everywhere: Proraso, Skin Bracer, and Aqua Velvet Blue. They make you feel good as far as the aftershave on your face. And even if you've had some irritation, there's some emollients in this that just make your face feel nice. For our talc today, we're going to be using Clubman. And then for our cologne today, kind of weird. This is made by Proraso, and it's called Azure Lime, but there's no lime in it. It's lemon, orange, and I believe a couple other things, but there's no lime in it. Go figure. But it's a nice cologne, and it hangs around for a little while, and then just becomes a skin scent. But for a hot summer day, that's perfect. Okay, everybody, that's it for the week. I apologize for Monday. It's just been too crazy, but we did get two shave videos in. As always, we do appreciate your likes, your subscribes, and everything else. We're getting close to 1,500 for our big giveaway, so please make sure you subscribe, hit the like button, and also notification button, and then please put your comments in. I try to get to as many as I can, and we appreciate the comments, and we appreciate you being part of the channel. I'm Barber Dave. This has been Barber Dave Shaves and Such. Hope everybody has a wonderful remainder of the week, and we'll see you again next Sunday. Take care.